how did we go from this to this? Get the f*** up out of here. Shadow of the Colossus. Ooh, careful now, shitty walkthrough man. Lots of love for this game, I hear. Well, I waited long enough to play this game, damn it, and I'm gonna have some things to say. And maybe all of them won't be good. How do gamers do this? I've never even played Shadow of the Colossus, and still I got a vicarious thrill from everyone else's excitement about this remake.
Shadow Colossus! Shadow Colossus! Yes! They remade Shadow Colossus! Oh my god!
Yeah, it looks really nice.
I can't avoid it anymore, I said. The hype is just too real. What makes this such a beloved classic? Well, let's find out. The opening sucks. You win, with its lack of dialogue, opting instead for a focus on mood-setting music and a theme of descending into darkness, perhaps as a metaphor for the main character going to extreme lengths and murdering giant, seemingly neutral creatures indiscriminately, all for the sake of reviving a fallen loved one. Or maybe he's always been like this and this is just another day, who knows. Your character is as disconnected as you are from consequence. He fights for selfish reasons. And so do you, kind of. Me, I'm just playing to kill some monsters for the fun of it. Which actually makes me worse than the main character, if you think about it. Kinda makes it hard for me to see his cause as anything less than noble. Subverting expectations is something Shadow of the Colossus is very good at. Every time I get a little unnerved heading down a dark staircase or entering a claustrophobic cave, the environment soon opens up into a pleasant new bit of scenery, often brightly lit and spacious. There's an air of mystery about this game that extends beyond the cutscenes to its vast, unpopulated landscapes and unmarked map locations. Even the UI, unfortunately, and whoo boy, we'll get to that real soon, don't you worry. But first, I want to give thanks to this game for not including objective markers. You gotta use the map like a real map. Paying attention to the geometry of the land and checking your position. At first I thought these were clouds representing unexplored portions of the map. I blame Horizon Zero Dawn for that one. Turns out they're mountains that you can't climb, no matter how much you may want to. Exploration feels much more organic this way, but ironically, there's not much to look for. Most AAA games have the opposite problem with open worlds being oversaturated with things to do, and not enough uniqueness in the art direction to showcase many meaningful landmarks. No such issue here, lots of eye candy to take in. Players should have no problem making a mental map as they journey to each new target. Everything is so distinct, beautiful, and recognizable. And this is coming from a guy whose sense of direction sucks dick. I had no problems finding my way around. You're not thrown in completely blind to get to that point, of course. Just hold up your sword and a light will guide you toward the general direction of your destination. You can even do this on horseback and control the camera with either analog stick effortlessly as you charge onwards. How much more engaging and immersive is that rather than the typical tunnel vision provoking current year design of mindlessly following a mini-map? You even get cool little rewards for taking in the scenery. There aren't many collectibles to find, but sometimes you do get something for climbing to the top of a mountain, or checking the underside of a bridge, for example. These rewards are completely intangible, so rather than being incentivized to outright look for them, which some completionists can obsess over, these little sparkly pick-em-ups don't seem to do anything, and okay, well sometimes they do this! And stranger still, they don't even get added to your record of collected items and achievements. Instead, each time I came across one, I took it as a in-the-moment pat on the back, like, hey, our art team worked hard to make the game world look this damn good, so thank you for taking an interest in exploring it fully. And I kinda love that. I get the sense this must have been their reasoning, because when climbing to the top of a shrine, for example, what would you typically expect a game to give you? A secret collectible? Hidden piece of lore, maybe? At the very least, a trophy should pop off, right? Nope. Nothing like that, but the camera zooms out, giving you an epic view of the horizon. It's not often that a video game is so clever with filling up its negative possibility space. Not with collectibles, but unmistakable acknowledgement of the player doing something not required. making it fulfilling. I'm trying to avoid getting all artsy and pretentious about this, but it really does feel like the game is speaking to me. Not just conveying a theme of dark versus light, and by the way, that guiding sword thing only works in a sunlit area, I can't believe I forgot to mention that, but it's like a full-on conversation. Darn, I couldn't fully charge my attack. Well then don't get greedy, be more selective in your strikes. A rare bit of music kicked in. Cool, that means stay alert, you're getting close to an encounter. Hey, you've killed another Colossus, so here's more doves. Seriously, there's like a dozen more flying around the girl than in the beginning. Every time you beat another monster, check her body. It's a nice little musicless fanfare that acknowledges yet again, you're doing good, buddy. For what little dialogue there is, it's in an incomprehensible language, but the minimal reading it asks of you is fine for setting up the story and giving hints about the nature of the next creature you'll be hunting down.
You little cock.
He said cock! Can I get demonetized for cock?
Cock, cock, cock.
It's not me, YouTube. I'm just reviewing a game here. The guiding voice of an unknown deity that you're not sure whether or not to trust will also give you hints during battle. These get progressively more cryptic as you progress, ensuring the difficulty curve ramps up steadily. Because the challenge in taking down a Colossus for the first time isn't in twitch reactions and timely dodging. Clearly not, just look at what this beast of a man can survive. I probably deserve to take more damage on that one. Each battle is more like a different puzzle to solve, and you can take them as slow as you want. Most frustrating one I can recall was dealing with this little number right here. The clue was literally, just deceive it. Oh, so like every other Colossus, thank you! My mistake was overthinking it, as is usually what trips me up with any puzzle. Figured I had to lure the bastard into peeking its head through one tunnel opening so I could go around while he was stuck and jump on his neck. But no, you just gotta disappear from its view suddenly enough that you can pop out while it looks from above the entrance and jump on its tail. Got you now, you piece of shit. You might have noticed I have no sympathy whatsoever for these creatures I'm killing, even though I can tell I'm supposed to feel that way with how perfectly expressive the Colossi are. From their animations and upsetting cries whilst you stab them over and over, the devs did a damn fine job at this. I really should be experiencing a moral dilemma here, especially considering my disposition to it if Monster Hunter World was any indication. But sadly, that aspect was ruined early for me by one thing in the tutorial section of this game. Just one mistake in an amazing, nearly perfect game that I can truly call a flaw. The stamina meter. Why? Why couldn't they just put text on screen to tell me how it worked? That's all we need, and then BAM! Quite literally, the game is perfect. I understand that there's an audio cue warning you that your stamina is low, but hear me out. I'm not so dumb that I ignored it, but due to circumstances of my own experience outside the developer's control, I interpreted the sound differently. My thoughts were, oh, that sound must mean I'm close to a weak spot, and that circle is a sort of radar with the yellow point focusing further to the center the closer I get to said weak spot. I can't pick my favorite facepalm, so I know what I'm gonna do there. Now I know you can figure this out on your own, but that argument flies out the window when the tutorial deems it necessary to tell me how to roll. Something that can be learned immediately, on your own, with a single experimental button press. Most likely, as soon as you start controlling your character. You're gonna try things like that. But to not inform me that this part of the HUD represents my stamina? Hell, even the revelation that stamina exists comes slightly too late, because the way I was playing, trying over and over without letting my character rest, it became impossible to ever have enough to reach a good area of footing. When you do get that far on the first Colossus, the game finally explains this is the kind of section where you're safe to recover. Understand that I knew nothing about this game going in, but did hear that the climbing is difficult. So I'm like, okay, it's me f***ing up then. Maybe I should stay still when the creature shakes. Oh, for f***'s sake. Perhaps I jumped at the wrong time? Cocksucker. Will putting my sword away during climbing make a difference? What the hell happened there? I tried everything, and it became infuriating, leaving me jaded and slaughtering every following Colossus with no f***ing props given for it. I even messed with the PS4's performance settings in case frame drops were screwing up my inputs somehow. Incidentally, there's this weird blur effect during roll animations and a teleport that can occur if you have boost mode enabled on the PS4 Pro, so be sure to have that turned off for this game. I realize, of course, this isn't likely to be a hindrance to other people's early game experience, but I personally feel the UI failed me here with but a single misstep, which is unfortunate, and I don't want that happening to anyone else. Anyway, rather than giving in and restarting the game on easy, I just looked up the mechanics and found out about stamina that way. And immediately everything clicked. Had the time of my goddamn life taking out every Colossus in a single attempt. Except the water one. I couldn't relate to any of the complaints I'd heard about the climbing after that. I love this game now, and I feel so lucky to have gotten the chance to play this remastered version spoiler-free. I guess you could say Shadow of the Colossus missed the mark of hitting me on an emotional level, but goddammit was I immersed in everything I was doing, thanks in no small part to the breathtaking visuals, obviously. But you know that audio design is f***ing on point too when I'm repeating actions just to hear those crisp sounds again and again. In multiple situations, I had to stop to appreciate this specifically. What can I say except they nailed it? The sound effects and ambience are so good, music is unneeded while traversing the landscape on your horse. But that doesn't stop me from humming the soundtrack myself along the way. Might even hold some of my favorite game songs now. The contrast between those grand scale orchestral scores and more quiet moments in between surely play a huge role in this. I got to a point where I could appreciate fast-paced or slow playstyles for different reasons. At first I was taking my time, but after so much adrenaline pumping from tackling each Colossus, I started making a beeline to the next one and the next one over and over. Just couldn't stop myself because the excitement of knowing each monster was wholly unique and would demand a different strategy of me was way too thrilling. I couldn't put the dang game down, and I'd be holding a physical copy if I had one. I want to give the dang game a kiss, but you know what? I can at least kiss the controller that allowed me to share in this experience with everyone. Oh, that can't be sanitary. OST even had me getting greedy. You don't need big charged up strikes at all once you've hit a sweet spot rhythm for stamina recovery. But screw that, I still do it because I want my strikes to feel as impactful as the music. This is a fine example of the mood and atmosphere a video game can set up, forcing my hand while technically leaving the choice of engagement up to me. Actually, after learning the stamina mechanic, I was tempted to switch to hard mode, but I'll save that for my next playthrough, because unfortunately, difficulty can't be changed mid-game, so make sure you're happy with the one you've picked. My first go-around was made even easier since I'm very diligent with finding lizards to consume to raise my stamina. Fruit you can find in some trees along the way can increase your health as well, but I was fine ignoring this for the most part. If a Colossus is consistently hurting you with how telegraphed their sluggish movements are, you probably deserve to fail, honestly. Don't feel bad about it though, just remember to save often and keep trying. Speaking of that, shrines are used as shave areas? Oh fuck, when was the last time I shaved? Shit. Shrines are used as shave areas. I did it again! Shrines are used as save areas for when you die or quit the game. These are where you'll spawn upon continuing, which applies even if you manual save far away from one. But the benefit of manual saving is keeping any collectibles you found between shrines, if for some reason you need to put your session on hold suddenly. Even though having less health can up the difficulty and weight of consequence for bad climbing, there's a cool little fall distance survival record to give you a side incentive for collecting that fruit. A record like this breeds curiosity, like, how silly can I get with how much the main character can endure? Once the initial intimidation of the boss fights is worn off, that is. I find myself asking fun, immersion-breaking questions like that often, but even more so on the other end of the spectrum. Asking the deeper questions, exploring some ruins like, what stood here before the Colossi? I can't imagine how else these places got wrecked other than the indifferent trampling of these higher beings that couldn't give a shit about what or who they're stepping on. Are there any other negatives I can talk about? Camera issues. They exist, but they're few and far between, despite how often Shadow of the Colossus wants to control the cinematography, making sure everything you'll need to see is in full view. I also appreciate the control players have on the camera within different contexts, like while riding a horse as I brought up earlier. And let's be clear before I forget to bring this up, Aggro is amazing and I love him. He actually obeys to the best of his ability, unlike Trico from The Last Guardian. I think the only thing that really translated over to that game was the awe-inspiring architecture. I can feel an actual bond with this horse, like we're truly a team, and he's not just there to navigate the world quickly. Aggro is surprisingly helpful too during boss fights if there's a ranged attack to look out for. Sometimes the dodge roll just won't cut it. Bear in mind, this majestic beast isn't wholly reliable. If you leave him behind, it may take a bit for him to respond to your summons.
Abro. 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 Abro.
He doesn't teleport like Roach in Witcher 3 does. He needs to come to you in real time. Don't let that silly clip I showed discourage you though. I've found that only happens in forest areas where there's a lot of geometry hindering aggro from galloping quickly. He doesn't turn on a dime after all, which is why I dismount when traversing the forest. Oh, I'm sorry, aggro. As hard as it can be to control aggro during battle at first, it's damn satisfying once you really get in sync with him. It's like mastering a real goddamn horse. I don't think any other animal AI has come close to this. Sometimes I just urgently call him with no intention of mounting during high-intensity moments where the music swells, just to add to the cinematic feel, giving a bit more dramatic flair to a scene, you know what I mean? Why do I do this? Partly because I'm recording the footage to show it off in a review, sure. I'm acutely aware while I'm playing that folks are going to see this, but I would still do this beyond my recordings regardless. I just enjoy adding some flavor to the spectacle, and finding your own fun within the interactive medium of gaming is kinda what it's all about, right? Shadow of the Colossus doesn't tell you much, but sure has a lot to say if you're willing to think deeply about it. The beauty being that you don't have to. You'll get equal enjoyment just treating the Colossi as fun challenges to overcome. Heck, subsequent playthroughs even encourage it with their time trial records and achievements. If you've made it this far into the video, then let me reward you with the footage of my immense rage. The stuff I recorded before realizing that stamina was a thing to look out for. Oh, his ass? I can stab his ass? Oh, now would be a really good time for a tutorial prompt to explain what's causing me to fall off. Oh! Not fun. Not fun. It's like the music's mocking me at this point with how long I've spent on his f***ing calf. Fuck me in the ass. What the fuck? Hold on, please. Oh my god, no! Oh, fuck you! Wait for him to fall completely. Cock cunt. Get up there! Piece of shit! Will putting the sword away help? I wonder. I will be so happy if that actually helps. Oh, fuck, it does not. No, nothing helps. Everything sucks. Oh my god! Just, what are the rules? What the fuck are the rules? I feel like once I finally figure it out with this first Colossus, the rest of the game will be better. But holy shit! Oh no! Eat my fucking ass.